Hi all. Yeah, so I had planned on being there today. However, my daughter is feeling sick, and so I'm being daddy today. But what I did want to do is I wanted to go through the instructions for today's lesson. There's going to be a lot of research on your part. It's definitely not busy work, all right? That's not the point of this. You are going to get a grade on this, and you are going to be using this tomorrow when I return on Friday. You're going to you're basically going to be looking at these, and I probably shouldn't give any more away without actually going through what you're supposed to do. So the idea for this lesson is European history is awesome because you have these great names. All right, you got all these European monarchs. Let me see. Let me make sure I bring up the right one. You got all these monarchs here that got these great epithets or by names or these names that they're known for, like Vlad the Impaler. Here we've got William the Ambitious. Uh, Thomas, evidently he didn't like Albanians because he's known as Thomas the Albanian Slayer. You've got Eric the Red. You've got this guy Alfonso the Battler, Geoffrey the Bearded, John George the John George the First, John George the First the Beer Jug. Um, yeah, I wonder how they got that name. But they got these awesome names that they're known by, and it's kind of easier to remember what that person stood for and what they did. I mean, that's automatically in there as their nickname. We don't do that in American history mainly because we don't have heraldry. We don't have knights and um, ancient names and titles and land that go along with it. Right? That's one of the things the Constitution actually forbids. You're not supposed to have knights in the United States or any title of nobility. But what if we did? What if our leaders had coats of arms and cool names to remember their stories by? So that's what we're going to do with the late Cold War presidents, the six presidents we have right here. John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Baines Johnson, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan. What you are going to do is you're going to go and you're going to get you're going to choose two of these. Now, if you're taking the class for regular credit, you're going to choose from the odd numbered ones. So JFK, Richard Nixon, or Jimmy Carter. If you're taking the class for honors credit, I may have said honors credit earlier. If you're taking the class for regular credit, you're going to choose from the odd numbers. John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon, Jimmy Carter. If you're taking the class for honors credit, you're going to be choosing from the even numbered ones. Lyndon Johnson, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan. Right. You're going to have to complete this twice. You're going to do one set of coat of arms and the write-up and the name for your first one, and then you're going to do it for the second one. You don't have to worry about the third one. Hopefully, with so many people doing these, we'll have that third one completed. For second block, it's going to be different because we only have uh, three students that are taking the class for honors credit. We'll go over we'll go over the other presidents in detail on Friday. Right? But this should work out pretty good. So remember, you got to do this twice. You got to do this process twice. And what you're going to do is you're going to complete a coat of arms, and I want to show you what that looks like in a second. But you're going to include 5 simple pictures in that coat of arms. Some coat of arms usually are really simple. They have like the lion and the rampant pose, green on or yellow on blue. I'm thinking Game of Thrones now. Um, I've got the song in my head, but they're simple. They only have one picture. Here, we're trying to make it a little bit more complex. We're trying to take a look at their presidencies and summarize it as best we can. So 5 pictures. We're going to divide it up into 5 segments, and you're going to have 5 different pictures. Then what you're going to do out to the side is you're going to give me a quick written summary of those symbols. What do they represent? Why did you put a rocket with JFK? Right? Why did you put a radio tape or audio tape with Richard Nixon? Why has Jimmy Carter got a peanut on his? Right? Why has Ronald Reagan got a big old satellite or a big old wall coming down? Right? Those are the things that you need to put in there. right, those symbols. And then finally, you're going to create that nickname. This is where you're going to look back on what you've already created and figure out a name that suits that person. Right? That's going to take a lot of critical thinking, but if you do it, and if you're able to do that successfully, that means you got a good grasp on what that president did, and it's going to be easier to remember that later when you get ready for the final exam. All right, I hope this is clear as possible. I did want to give you some more direction than just giving you the sheet and letting you go out there and complete it yourself. You can use the iPads, right? Make sure they all get back to the sub or whoever's covering before you leave. Make sure chairs are put up and or for 4 o'clock chairs are put up, but make sure chairs are pushed underneath and all the trash is put where it needs to go, the trash can. Right. If you really do need me during the day, I'm not sure I'll be checking my email that often during the day, but if you have a question, don't hesitate to email it to me. This is due on Friday when you come into class. We're going to be on a half-day schedule, so it's going to be all in the morning. We're going to have 45 minutes to kind of debrief and do some work with these in class, not necessarily completing them, but using them. So remember that. Due by Friday morning when you come into class. All right. I'll see you on tomorrow.